So I did want to dedicate the majority of this show to talk about the defense, Nate Ollie, and especially Za'Darius Smith. But I do have to address some breaking news that happened at the end of practice. The final practice of training camp today, it was confirmed from Kevin Stefanski that Michael Penix Jr. will not be playing against the Miami Dolphins in the preseason finale. Tua will be the one to take the reps with the first team and be named the starting quarterback in that preseason game. And then Cooper Rush will be running with the twos once Tua's day is done, and Jack Strand will wrap everything up. And this episode of Falcons Today is brought to you by Prize Picks. So welcome in, and here's the thing, though. With Michael Penix Jr., as we talk about this a little bit, I'm going to dedicate the first kind of chunk to talk about that and then dive into really what I wanted to talk about with the defense. The thing about Penix, it makes sense. Stefanski did say that, he's only had 3 days working in the 11-on-11, so it would be rushing a little bit to throw him out into the fire of a preseason situation, of a game environment in playing against the Miami Dolphins. So honestly, when I look at it, when I see that Michael Penix is not playing, this is the smart decision. He has yet to take a hit, really. I mean, he got bumped in one of the throws he made that I saw the team site post on X and everything, but I do think it was smart to not force him out onto the field on Friday. You don't want to risk anything, and especially the mental thing. That's the biggest hurdle that Penix is getting over. However, it is talked about how he looked a lot better. He looked a lot sharper today, both in practice, and then as far as even Bijan Robinson went out and said, hey, he beat me in a race. That's crazy. That's kind of wild to think about, that Penix is outrunning Bijan. Who knows if Bijan was running at full speed, however. The thing is, though, with Penix not playing on Friday, I do still think Tua does get the nod in a couple weeks against Pittsburgh for week 1. Penix at that point will have no experience with 11-on-11s in a real setting. He'll have no game experience. So I do think Tua's ready, and I think more so because of the fact I don't think Penix is going to be mentally ready. Now, he does feel confident in his ability to be ready by game day, and he did talk about it. And he even confirmed, both Stefanski and Penix doubled down on the confirmation that it's no use in rushing to get back on Friday. He's only had 3 days of 11-on-11 practice, so who knows? But he does feel like he can be ready come week 1. So the competition will really, continue, I guess, until we finally get named that starter. And Stefanski even did say that he's not in a rush. He'll make the decision when the decision needs to be made. Keeps us on our toes, and we'll find out sooner and later. All right, let's dive into everything else. And to start it off, I'm going to be a little corny here, hence the corn. It's about the next play mentality. It's talked about so much in sports, and I think it relates to a lot of things in life even. You have a bad day, you shake it off, you can build and stack. With football, it makes a lot of sense too. And with the nature of this show, with the nature of this defense, and especially the defensive line, I think it's a huge thing. The defensive line unit under the Atlanta Falcons, including the edge room, has taken a lot of hits this offseason. A lot of things that, they can be knocked down. But it seems like they're rising up, no pun intended, and making plays happen. And the reason is because of Nate Ollie and Jeff Ulbrich. But the confidence that Nate Ollie has is contagious, and it's spread to me. And I'm confident in this room right now. I believe that this room, this Atlanta Falcons edge room, this defensive line, this pass rush can absolutely continue to wreak havoc, something they did last year in record-breaking fashion. And it's because of what Ollie has to say, and the confidence he has in this team, and the belief he has in the system that Jeff Ulbrich and him utilize. And the thing is, I'm fired up. I'm amped to talk about this defense right now, and I hope you are too. And the reason I am, Endor once sang a song called Pumpin' Up. Don't you know Pump It Up? You got to pump it up. And these are our most recent subscribers. Deshaun Givens, The Sexy Beast, Be Nice, Jeffrey Gonzalez, and Howard Sanchez. They're pumping it up right now. They're joining this family and this Falcons community, and that's the thing. You can be shouted out on a future episode too if you subscribe to the fastest growing Atlanta Falcons channel on the internet. So here's the thing. Here is the thing. I'm ready to talk some defense, and especially why a certain signing, not to allude to everything coming up, was very smart. And Nate Ollie talked to the media today with a motto: if you think, you stink. And honestly, I'm gonna treat this show that way. I'm gonna let the words do the talking and just have some fun with it. And I have some reason to trust Nate Ollie. I think you have reason, and we should have reason, that we should be trusting Nate Ollie moving forward with what he had to say today and how this team has been structured. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, but I do have to remind you of our sponsor over at Prize Picks for making this show possible. I can't believe that football, the preseason is coming to an end. The regular season is right around the corner. And the thing is, you can cash in and win some real big bucks when you use America's #1 sports pick app, Prize Picks. And you can sign up for Prize Picks using our code HMA. I would never forget a code. And that's the thing. You can get $150 in bonus lineups instantly if you win that first $5 lineup. We're rolling the season-long lineup because I like to be a little risky. I don't think this is that risky. Shout out Bijan. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. Taking more on his season-long yards. Come on now. And then with Justin Herbert, I think what he has set up for him in that offense, regardless of an offensive line that's a little dinged up right now, I think he's going to be able to thrive. And the thing is, you can cash in. You can win some real money too. And match me when you download the Prize Picks app today with the code HMA. Get $150 in bonus lineups instantly if you win that first $5 lineup. That is code HMA for $150 in bonus lineups if you win that first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Okay. Let's address the elephant in the room. There is a lot of production in the pass rush department that is not going to be here in 2026, and they are as followed. That's a lot of people missing. That's a lot of sacks that are missing. A lot. That is 26.5 total sacks of these 5. There's some other names that aren't even mentioned that, might have had 1 or 2. 26.5, though, is more than the Jets and San Francisco 49ers had in 2025. 5 people were able to do that. Jalen Walker's out for the season. JPJ's out for 8 games. That's why I included them in this. JPJ, 8 games, but that's still 8 games of not having a potential superstar edge rusher. That's a lot of people missing. But the thing is, Atlanta did return some pieces on that pass rush. Some very important ones as well on both the interior and the edge. Brandon Dorlus has gotten a ton of reps with the edge so far and is someone that Nate Ollie said consistency is his key. And I think that's going to be big for Brandon Dorlus this year. Having someone on the interior like LaCale London, who might even be the 2 behind Mason Smith this season, that got 5 sacks? Come on. And then we know, I'm very high on Zach Harrison, and his biggest thing, his biggest means of improvement is staying healthy. 7 games, 4.5 sacks. If he stays healthy, plays can be made. And the thing is, Atlanta brought in some pieces that can help out this edge room. And one of them I'm really going to highlight through the back half of this show, and it's Za'Darius Smith. I like Samson Ebukam and what he brings to the table, and I'm a big fan of Harold Perkins' versatility and how young he is. But we're going to harp on Big 91, Big Z. He's got a lot of nicknames so far. Even Nate Ollie added one. I'll end the show with that, don't you worry. This is a much bigger signing than I think I even made it out to be when it first happened, and I think I want you to understand that this is a very important signing. This is an important signing for the Atlanta Falcons, and the reasons are as followed. I think the leadership that he has, the experience that he has. Keep in mind, even with Jalen Walker and JPJ out, Za'Darius Smith is by far the most experienced. He has reached the highest highs of anyone in the defensive line and edge room. There are times throughout his career where he has been arguably the best defensive player on his team. James Pearce Jr. could trend to that direction. Jalen Walker could trend to that direction. But I don't think anyone would say that either of them were the best on the Falcons defense last year. There's 2 safeties that would claim that title. Za'Darius Smith, on his time with the Green Bay Packers, was getting 12.5, 13.5 sacks. That's the best player. Maybe Jair Alexander. But Za'Darius Smith definitely was the most impactful player. And I think that what he brings is absolutely huge. And the thing is, Nate Ollie sees that. Nate Ollie talked about that. Calls him juicy. Big Z is juicy. I like that. I'm going to use that moving forward. And this is a really fun tidbit. Having the iPad out and coaching up some of the younger guys. That is something I really want to take away and hammer home about how important this signing is, and having someone that is 33, pushing 34. He's out of his prime, yes. But there's still left in the tank. There's still juice there. Hence the name. And just to humanize him a little bit, because I think so much we're talking about, oh, he's so good at football. This was a really heartfelt, heartwarming story that Tori McElhaney tweeted out today. Actually, just a a little bit before I went and recorded this, how Za'Darius is from Montgomery, Alabama, which is relatively close to Atlanta, and his late mother grew up an Atlanta Falcons fan, wanted him to play for the Falcons, and here he is playing for the Atlanta Falcons. And we did get some more information that the retirement that he didn't want to retire when he did from the Philadelphia Eagles last year. But in a span of a short amount of time, roughly a year, he lost 3 family members that he was tremendously close to. He had a very cool embracing moment with Jeff Ulbrich today, both of whom have gone through tragic losses of loved ones in the last year, or in Ulbrich's case, 2 months. So I just think humanizing someone like that is absolutely massive. And I think just goes to show to the character that he has. I just told you how he's been coaching up some of the younger people. And that's the real reality of this room. On the defensive line, on the edges. They don't need a star. JPJ can be a superstar in this NFL. And he's trending in that direction. Jalen Walker has the making to be a star, both on the edge and just what he brings to the table defensively. They needed leadership and maturity. That's what Za'Darius Smith has. And he's showing it in his first couple weeks repping the red and black. He's showing it coming into training camp, coming into team meetings, coaching up, working along with Ollie, but also working for Nate Ollie and this defense. And I think there's levels to it. There's a ton of young talent. I showed you some of the returners. Brandon Dorlus is young. Zach Harris, young. LaCale, Mason Smith. All of these players are just entering the prime of their careers, if not even tapping into it yet. They don't need someone to come in, a young superstar, to make something happen. They need someone who has seen it all and can be a leader and almost a player coach in a way. And that's what Za'Darius Smith is. There's wicked talent and a brilliant scheme as well that this Falcons team has. Za'Darius Smith can help in so many more ways than just his presence on the field. And the thing is, schematically, I trust this team. That's the thing. I trust Nate Ollie. 57 sacks, franchise record, and your team leader had 10.5. Something is going well. You can take JPJ out of the system for 8 games, and I still think a lot of guys will get home. And Nate Ollie agrees so. He says, we got good guys, a good group of guys that we're working with. And then it's whatever it takes to win on our part. If it's coming with 5, 6, or just rushing with 4. End of the day, whatever it takes to win. I think Nate Ollie is an awesome defensive line coach and might have a future as a DC. Fingers crossed that he doesn't get poached quite yet, because what he's been able to do with the Atlanta Falcons is awesome. I mean, he's a huge reason why 57 sacks became a reality. And something that he does is throw out some really fun nicknames. And here are the ones that really crossed my timeline so far. Got the Ambassador of Strain, otherwise known as Zach Harrison. The Kingpin, Deshaun Hand. Carlos Allen Jr., who's a UDFA, who's been balling out lately, is zoned out. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. And then the most recent one that we have, Za'Darius Smith, otherwise known as Juicy. So Falcons fans, which one's your favorite? I like them all. Ambassador of Strain, it's a mouthful. But man, that's intimidating. That's a fun one. And Juicy, I would say, is the funniest. So Ambassador of Strain, I think, is just the oh, wow. And I'd say the funny award definitely goes to Za'Darius Smith. So here's the thing. A lot of Za'Darius Smith praise, a lot of praise to this defensive line. And it's something that I can be confident about regardless of what has happened. It's that next play mentality. It's what I talked about at the top of the show is, things are going to happen. Injuries are going to happen. Suspensions, you can't avoid them. But, hey, they happened, and you have to be able to step up and move on. And I think that's what this team has done throughout camp, throughout practice, and I think it's what they can do come the start of the regular season. I'm going to be at home tomorrow, but we'll be breaking down, I think, more of the quarterback play. I just really wanted to shed some light on a positive note of what's been happening so far in camp, and especially with what Za'Darius Smith can bring to the table. That's going to be all from me. I'll see you tomorrow, but until the next time, rise up, and I'll see you.